Greetings viewers, Adventure Link here, back again with a setup / initial impressions video. Yep, it's finally here. We're going to set up and do some initial impressions on the iPhone 6 Plus in gold, 128 gig. Okay, so welcome aboard. Glad you're here. Glad you're watching. How the heck are you? Okay, so the first thing you want to do is, normally there would be a SIM door here. It's right where the edge of my thumb is. You would that's the phone. Right, this is normally what the SIM door looks like. You would take a if you have a SIM card removal tool or a paper clip, or I got clever with a staple. You insert that into the hole, keep going in until the SIM card tray pops out, let it slide out, and then from there you can either transplant your SIM from the old iPhone, or in my regard, if you're going from an Android to an iPhone, which unfortunately iPhones love to use smaller SIM cards rather than traditional standard size for Androids. So that means I had to set up a whole new SIM card. So if you're in my boat, you had to extract the SIM anyway to get the new SIM out so you can activate it. Otherwise, you should be able to transplant it from there. So, we're going to do setup first. So, if you're here for the setup, then this is it. Otherwise, the initial impressions will come later on. So the first thing you want to do is, of course, unwrap your phone plastic. Then push in and hold the power button. Then we're going to give it a moment to get up to the iPhone screen. Okay. So we're going to swipe to set up. Hit English, or your other language if you're speaking another language. I'm going to select United States, or you can select your country or region from here. You can now pick a Wi-Fi network. For now, I'm just going to skip this. Hit next. I'm going to set this up as a new iPhone. From here, you can restore from an iCloud backup or from an iTunes backup. Since this is my very first ever iPhone, we're just going to set this up as a new iPhone. Apple ID. I'll give you a moment to let you see all the perks you can get with an Apple ID. Let's try signing in with one. Okay, so apparently the Apple ID is being difficult, so we'll just skip this for now. Okay, so since this thing wanted to be difficult, I had to turn it off and then flip it back on. There's the terms and conditions for iOS. You can go through it all, but I'm not going to read it right now, so for now you can always just click agree. Hit agree again. Touch ID. Let's set that up later. Continue. Create a passcode. From here you can make a passcode for your phone. So we're going to not create one for now. Siri. So let's use Siri. Automatically send diagnostics. Share app analytics with the app developers. So, display zoom. You can either choose standard or zoom, so let's just choose the standard. And that's zoomed. That's standard. Let's just say zoom for now. Ta-da! Welcome to iPhone. Get started. Now I guess it's gonna reload itself. Keep in mind you can change all this later on in the settings, as well as the zoom. And ta-da! We are now in iPhone. iPhone. So I guess this concludes the setup. I thought we had to use iTunes for this because I remember with my iPod Touch back in 07, 08, I think it was. I haven't touched an Apple product in at least 2 years when I misplaced my iPod Touch, so yeah. I remember that thing, I had to use iTunes to set that up. So I'm glad in later years, up to now, we don't have to use iTunes anymore, so that's a win on Apple's part, so good job, Apple. So that concludes the setup. Get ready for the initial impressions if you want to watch those two, or if you're just here for the setup, then later. Welcome back. We are on with the initial impressions. As you can see, it's kind of overcasty outside. Feels alright, not too cold, not too warm, so figured with this nice rest of the day we got here, figured I'd take the initial impressions of my iPhone 6 Plus outside. So before we actually get to the underhood and start seeing some of the features that this thing can do, I just want to share a few things about my iPhone, since, you know, this is an initial impressions video, so I will be commenting on various things about this phone, including, you know, size, OtterBox availability, and release notes. So first off, you know, look at the size of this thing. Just look at it. When you open this up, you're going to get the impression of, hey, this ain't the iPhone I used to use for years. You'd be right. Normally, up until now, iPhones and iPod Touches used to come in a nice little 4-inch package. But I guess from pressure from various other Androids, Apple finally had to go and step their game up, and they made a 4.7-inch 6 regular and it's 5.5-inch 6 Plus, which is what you see right now. But the question still remains: is this still Apple's belated answer to Android, or overly belated, or still stuck in 2012 or whatever? Well, time will tell and we shall see. As for the OtterBox availability, well, just like with the S5, and of course it's an Apple product anyway, so you would get a pre-game OtterBox. That is if you're on the regular version of the 6. If, on the other hand, you're on the 6 Plus like me, yeah, no OtterBox available yet. It's almost as if they hate these bigger phones, and they take their dear sweet time releasing OtterBoxes for them, for one reason or the other. And with that being said, slight tangent, but I'm expecting the Note 4/Edge to be the same way as it was last year with the Note 3. Possibly, maybe the 6 Plus is going to be the same way too, who knows. So I had to get some temporary clothes for it. The night blazing case I got from Amazon, like $16, $20. It's not as good as an OtterBox, and definitely doesn't protect as well, but at least it's got a holster, so it'll do. Especially with the thing where these things love to bend and snap in people's pockets. And as you saw, it's got a nice little kickstand to it. It seems fairly easy to extract and pull back in. And that's one thing I gotta say, I gotta give iBlazing some credit for. They actually thought to have an easy-to-use kickstand, whereas with OtterBoxes, I thought I was going to break the thing trying to set the kickstand up and take it down. As for the release, well, as you heard from my unboxing video, the finally remarks, yes, I said that, because the iPhone 6 Plus got so backed up. Pre-orders were supposed to start at like 12 a.m. Then it got pushed to 3 a.m. Then it got pushed to 7 a.m. Then Apple got backed up bad, and then T-Mobile. Let's put it this way: if you're on T-Mobile and you're a new user trying to make a new line, you can get a 6 Plus no problem. And if you was jumping it, good luck. There's problems with processing the orders or even getting one started in the first place, which is what happened to me. So I ended up having to phone it in, and it came. Then it's supposed to come one day, and then somehow the address part of the shipping label got bungled, despite receiving many packages from UPS, including all my Samsungs thus far, with no problems. Now, that's one thing I said, gotta give Samsung some credit for. I've had very little to no problems with ordering Samsungs and even jumping to them on T-Mobile. I jump ship to the iPhone and let the nightmares begin. So with my thoughts on that, and that being said, I will say this about release. And one thing I will give Apple some credit for is that when it comes to the internal storage, they're actually pretty consistent. 16, 64, and 128 gigs, which is what you see right now is the 128 gig version of the 6 Plus. Tried that with Samsung, especially the S4. Oh, we're going to have 16, 32, and 64 gigs rather. Then, shortly before release, oops, my bad, we're not going to have 64 gigs. And the 32 gigs, that's AT&T only. You're stuck with 16 gigs or GTFO. So, yeah, score 1 for Apple already. So, with that being said, let's actually get to the underhood of this thing and play around with it. Well, one thing I gotta say is that unlike my Samsung, where I can just swipe any way I want to, this you have to specifically slide at the bottom here. And, well, there's the underhood of the iPhone 6 Plus. I will say this thing is very Wi-Fi dependent, because in this regard, that's why that iMovie, see that? It won't click. It's waiting. Because it's wanting to download off a Wi-Fi connection. And watch this Amazon video. This is just example, so if what you just saw a split second ago offends you with regards to my show choices, well, fuck you. That is all. This is just for demonstration purposes. See? That's one thing I gotta say I gotta give Apple credit for, is that they thought to have Amazon streaming on an iPhone, but unfortunately, unless you're on Wi-Fi, this thing is pretty much useless. I'm not sure how Netflix, Hulu, Vimeo, etc. goes, but YouTube apparently works fine, but this won't. So, let's just go into the App Store and try to download iMovie from there, so I can try and at least prove my point. Okay. See? Unfortunately, it won't let you download it off a mobile connection, despite very well unclearly. Okay, there, now it is. Since I'm on T-Mobile and I have unlimited data, and I still can't download iMovie. And sadly, this is not overwritable. But maybe, if a jailbreak comes out, maybe that will be overridden. Okay, so I'm going to show off a software update real quick. Yes, there's a software update already. There's that 8.0.1, which kept screwing people's phones up and not wanting to take or receive calls. Or make and receive calls, sorry. So, software update, checking for update. Alright, we has an update. And, once again... more Wi-Fi dependence. I swear iPhones have to be the most Wi-Fi dependent phone ever. There's gotta be a meme we can make with this. There really has to be. Especially with T-Mobile, LTE in Cincinnati area, yeah, side note, and needing a Wi-Fi connection for many things on your iPhone. There really needs to be a meme for this. But with that being said, with regards to updates and jailbreaking, when I remember on my iPod Touch, I could still get updates and jailbreak or jailbreak the updates or whatever. And that's one of the things I had to say that I do gotta give Apple some credit for, is that even though you do jailbreak the system, you can still get updates. Good luck on a Samsung. You can still get updates, but you won't be able to get them officially over the air or anything like that. You'll have to like go to XDA or something and download the updates from there and then flash them over using Odin, which at least with this, apparently you could still get over-the-air updates. So in this regard, iPhone 1, Android, especially Samsung, 0. So, you know, with that being said, I could stream just fine on my Samsung. I haven't streamed Netflix many years ago on my Evo 3D, so score 1 here for Android. iPhone, 0. App Store. Just for grins and giggles, Let's try to see if I can buy something off the App Store. Okay, I'm going to put my password in. I'll be right back. And we're back, so let's hit OK. Okay, payment information required. So, I'm going to hit continue and give me a moment. Okay, account settings, billing address, payment types. As you can see, bill to the account, to the cell phone account, is not available. Whereas in Google Play Store, you could do that no problem. I've done it on Sprint, I've done it on T-Mobile, no problem. So again, score 1 for Android, iPhone 0. And this is, and just so you know, even though I like my Samsungs, this is not Samsung specific. Like I said, I purchased things and did all these things on an Evo 3D fine, whereas this won't do it, so yeah. Okay, so here's the settings menu for iPhone. As you can see, you can go through all your settings here. Like I said before, you can adjust all your settings that you didn't set up. You can do that here and the various other settings like General, iTunes, and App Store, notifications, etc. There's one bad habit I need to stop doing, is I'm too used to having a back button here. I've probably must have pushed this at least 500 times already, maybe 1,000, thinking, hey, there's a back button. Wrong. There isn't one. So, score another one for Android and iPhone 0. Guess I should show off the slow-mo video. As you can see, gotta love how this thing's going like nice and fast like progressive scan on slow-mo video. Okay, this is the front-facing camera on an iPhone 6 Plus, and this is how it sounds. So, yeah. Here's the well, this is the front-facing. What you just saw before was the rear-facing. So, this is my cute little face, of course, YMMV, saying hi to all you YouTube fans. Hello! So, when it comes to the quality of both the rear-facing and front-facing cameras and the sounds, you know, what you see is what you get. So, if you like it, hey, and if you don't, well, whatever. Okay, so here's Safari on an iPhone. There's all your buttons to do stuff with. And then there's all your app buttons up at the top. Bookmarks. Tabs. There, as you can see, you got private browsing right here. So you can just hit that. So remember the disclaimer for private browsing. Anything you do in private browsing, Safari does not remember, so do keep that in mind. Well, as you can see, come on. This thing is oversensitive. Yeah. Unfortunately, I have not yet seen an option in Safari where you can configure the browser or the browser options unless it's back in the options in the first place in the settings. See, you can pick wallpaper in the settings. No, there's the Safari options. Advanced. And guess what? There's no option to use the desktop version of a website. So it's pretty much there if it's there, and if it's not, it's not. Okay, I'd like to actually come back to revisit the Safari thing. Thanks to my friend Justin Hubbard. Indeed, Safari can do desktop versions of websites. All you gotta do is get to your address bar, swipe it down, boom, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Yeah, I'm a 90s kid. F you. Okay, so We're back at the home screen again. So, let's go to the phone screen and see how calls sound. As you heard, every time I push a button on this thing, it makes the appropriate touch tone dial, whereas on Samsung it's like boing, 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 boing. So in this regard, iPhone 1, Android 0. Or in this case, I think it's more like iPhone 1, Samsung 0, because I think on my Evo 3D, even with the stockware custom firmware, I think it did make appropriate touch tones. I'm not sure. I don't care now. It's long since dead. But as you can see, this is the 12 in touch number. I used to always use that during my videos. So, let's give it a shot.
This is John Lomax, and thanks for calling Local 12 in Touch. Join me every morning before work and school for the news you need before you hit the door on Good Morning Cincinnati. For the Local 12 phone, press 1. For the Precision Doppler forecast, press 2. This is John Lomax, and thanks for calling Local 12 in Touch. Join me every morning before work and school for the news you need before you hit the door.
And so far, the keypad ain't going away. So, iPhone 1, Android 0. This was always a big annoyance with Androids.
Thanks for watching the Sports Authority. I'm Mike Burke. This is our You Make the Call poll question. And as you might have guessed, it's about your 3-0 Bengals. How are you feeling about this team after the perfect start through 3 weeks? Are you A, not sold yet? That's choice number 1. Thanks for voting in today's local poll 1.
That's honestly how I feel about Bengals right now. Side note, that's how I feel about Bengals right now. And the Cincinnati teams as a whole. Once you get past the first round of the playoffs, we'll talk. Other than that, I'm still not sold. Okay, so another nice thing they finally did with iPhones. See, we now have a notifications bar. Additionally, if you go over to the Today, you can see all your events and stocks and all that. Show all stocks. Ooh! I don't think that Amazon stock's looking pretty good right now, but whatever. I knocked it over. But at least it hit the case and not the phone, so... And it wasn't that far of a fall, so hey. Yeah, fall tests, we're not going to do those, or brake tests, or the test where we get to put the phone in the pocket and see if it bends. We don't do that here. We don't destroy stuff. There's the camera right out there. I want to make another quick point about the camera too. It seems that camera loads a lot faster on iOS than Samsung ever does. And here's why. See? I'm in the camera app now. Okay, so a couple final notes. About the music quality. By itself, you know, it sounds alright. But in my van, it sounded too sketchy, too scratchy. Whereas on my phone, it sounded alright. So I'm not sure if it's the speakers, radio, phone differences, or if I need to tinker with some settings in iPhone or whatever. So this one could go many, many ways. So this is just going to be a benefit of the doubt. This one could go either way. So I thought I'd make a real quick mention of that. And on that note, iPhone! I just want to make another real quick point here about this iPhone. As you can see here on Facebook, you know how on Android you can't reply directly to comments on like pages? Well, check this out. Click reply. There's my reply to this guy's post. So that's yet another thing I have to say that I gotta give Apple credit for, is that they thought to have that feature in their app. Additionally, I hear that iOS apps tend to get updated faster and get more features faster versus Android. So in this regard, Apple 1, Android 0. So I guess without dragging this out too far, you know, this was my initial impressions of iPhone 6 Plus, 128 gigs. So far, it's still early in the release, so far, you know, I think it's about even when it comes to Apple versus Samsung or even Android as a whole. And there's some things to like about Apple, some things to like about Android, but some things just get overly annoying, like this Amazon video streaming. Work totally useless right now. Ugh. So with that being said, I am Adventure Link. Thank you all for watching. I hope this video helps you to see some of the features of the iPhone 6 Plus and what it can do for you, and get you pumped for your own iPhone 6, regular or Plus, or helps you make a decision in buying your next phone. I appreciate your rates and subscriptions. You can do that in the video description or thereabout. If you got any feedback on this video, any at all, I'm man enough to take it. Throw it in the comments section. I'll be more than happy to respond. It's feeling okay outside. Not too bad. Not too warm. Not too cold. So I guess when it's warm outside, you know, stay cool and stay in the shade. When it's hot out, when it's cold outside rather, stay warm and bundle up if you must. Eat right, stay hydrated, stay healthy, work hard, have fun, make history. Don't let others push you around. Always remember the wise words of wisdom from Eric the Car Guy. Be safe, have fun, and stay dirty. And the wise words of wisdom from Jerry Springer. Take care of yourself and each other. See you all next time. Have a nice day.